Last week we did a tracker of where all the Vikings around the 90-man rooster this year ended up, whether it be on 90-mans or whether it be on 53s. 90-man doesn't count, practice squads, etc. And we got some comments that want to expand it, like the college football playoff, and they want to expand it. So we're going full macro, taking a look at where Vikings veterans are hanging their shingle for the 2022 NFL season. Now, this is all just a cursory glance through Wikipedia, like on the rosters and stuff, so I'm probably missing a couple, but yeah, don't at me. I'm sure that there's someone right now, just like Sherlock Holmes, just trying to find one that we missed. Yeah, I hear it. But we're going to go by position. Quarterbacks, Case Keenum, backup quarterback with the Bills. If anything happens to Josh Allen, it'd be QB2. And maybe Josh Allen wants to take the Vikings-Bills game off, because how poetic would it be? Vikings versus Case Keenum thrown to Stephon Diggs. Woo! Sideline, touchdown. It's a Minneapolis Miracle, baby. That's right. Jake Browning, the miracle man of the 2021 Vikings night practice. He's on the Bengals practice squad. Kellen Mond, who... I still like Kellen Mond. I still think that he can amount to something in this league. Kevin Stefanski picked him up. Andrew Berry, Kwesi's former mentor, yoink, got him. Claimed him off of waivers on the 53-man roster. The Browns actually have 5 quarterbacks in the sphere right now, so we'll see. Heineke, backup quarterback with the Commies. Now, when the Vikings were searching for that QB2, and then they ultimately traded for Nick Mullins, I do wonder if Kwesi had contacted Washington, because they do have Sam Howell as a QB of the future. They do have Carson Wentz. Heineke, even though Heineke was a starter for the Commies at some point, expendable. Bring it on back. Just don't kick any doors. Sean Mannion, slinging Sean Mannion, the vending machine tune-up for sandwich of quarterbacks. He was on the Vikings 53. He also didn't grab 90-man. He also didn't grab the Vikings QB 2 job. Really good at talking right now. So he signed with the Seahawks practice squad. So him, Geno Smith, Drew Lock. Fantastic, man. Broncos, the marvelous Mike Boone, jumping George Payton, former assistant Vikings general manager, got the Broncos job a couple years ago, and then brought in Mike Boone. There you go. Jerick McKinnon with the Chiefs has done pretty good things when he's been able to stay healthy and be on the field. He's still a physical freak. Love me some Jet McKinnon. Amir Abdullah's with the Raiders, former third down back, special teams guy. Cordero Patterson, speaking of special teams guy. I mean, Falcons' Arthur Smith finally last year used Cordero the way that Cordero should have been used throughout his career, as a offensive weapon, a receiver, a running back, a gadget player. Yeah, I still love me some Cordero, man. Kari Blasingame. So some of these are deep cuts, but Kari Blasingame was a running back at Vanderbilt. The Vikings picked him up, and then they turned him to a fullback. Problem is, the Vikings had C.J. Ham, who's developing into one of the best fullbacks in the game. And Blasingame, he was with the Tennessee Titans for a while, and then the Bears picked him up, because the Bears are obsessed with everything former Viking. Also former Viking, Stephon Diggs with the Bills. He's done okay. He's still okay. Laquan Treadwell just signed with the Patriots practice squad. Now, Treadwell did pretty good last year with Jacksonville. Almost put up 500 yards receiving, and just got crowded out as the Jaguars added a bunch of receivers in the offseason. Just sort of is what it is. Maybe Treadwell can get something going with Belichick and Mac Jones and company. Rodney Adams. Remember Rodney Adams? So he was a 5th-round pick a couple years ago out of Southern Florida, I want to say. He was a return guy, wide receiver 5, never really panned out here, bounced around the league for a bit. I think he was on the Bears for a hot second, but he's on the Jets NFI list currently. Speaking of Bears and former Vikings receivers, Amir Smith-Marset, that one still hurts. It does. So they claimed him. I think that he's wide receiver 2 behind Mooney right now. Tajay Sharp, you remember him. Former Viking superstar, was here for a year, former Tennessee Titans, went to the University of Massachusetts. He is currently on the Bears. No, he's not on practice squad. I think he's on injured reserve. Doesn't matter. Tight end Zach Davidson, the unicorn, went to the Bills. So him and Josh Allen are going to have a tall, gangly athleticism off. That's what. Oh, maybe that's why they hired him, because, well, Zach Davidson also can punt. He was a punter at Central Missouri, but maybe they signed Zach Davidson to be Josh Allen's body double. They'll just send him around town, because, I mean, they're both 6'7", and so when Josh Allen doesn't feel like being hounded by autograph seekers, or if he wants to go down to the Buffalo Wild Wings and get some authentic Buffalo wings, and then they can just send Zach Davidson to the Applebee's. There you go. Tyler Gronklin, speaking of Vikings tight ends, he got paid by the Jets this offseason. Respect. Michael Pruitt-Arcole, former fifth-round pick out of Southern Illinois. He's bounced around the league, also spent a lot of time with the Titans as well as the Bears. But he's on the Falcons practice squad backing up Kyle Pitts. Kyle Rudolph, speaking of Kyle's and former Vikings tight ends, he signed with the Bucs after 1 year with the Giants. Tom Compton, remember him? Yeah. Tom Compton was the OG. Hey, we're not going to replace this guy who's playing bad at guard because we're stubborn. He's on the Broncos PUP list. Aviante Collins, the former UDFA TCU, before the Vikings became obsessed with TCU. He's on the Cowboys practice squad. Jesse Davis with the Steelers. Wyatt just got traded to him. Wyatt Davis got picked up at the Giants on the practice squad. Dakota Dozier. Dozier's not on the practice squad. He's on IR. Got hurt, but he was a big-time signing by Ryan Poles this offseason. Go ahead. Colby Gossett. Remember him? He was either a fifth or sixth round pick out of Appalachian State. Never really stuck around with the Vikings. He bounced around. I think he got the time of day with the Cardinals, but now he's on the Falcons 53. Pat Elflein. I mean, Pat actually got a pretty juicy free agent deal with the Panthers a couple years ago. He's still in the mix there. Danny Isadora, formerly... That's just the U being the U. He's on the Cardinals practice squad. Mason Cole on the Steelers 53 was a free agent signing from them. He was traded from the Cardinals last year to the Vikings. Did okay as a swing veteran interior. Onto the defense. Steve Weatherly, former seventh-round pick out of Vanderbilt. So Weatherly was with the Vikings. He signed with Carolina, came back to the Vikings, and now he's on the Browns IR. Yannick the freaking Ngakoue. Because... Man, after Daniil went down with that herniated disc in his neck, the Vikings traded for Yannick the freaking Ngakoue, coming from Jacksonville. And then they traded him again after, I think, 5 or 6 games to the... Was it the Raiders? No, they traded him to Baltimore. And then he signed with the Raiders, and now he's with the Colts. He can get after him, man. And also our guy, Alfadio Denebo, 7th-round pick out of Northwestern, developed into a nice rotational edge rusher, but then he had an opportunity to be a starter for the Vikings. It wasn't up to snuff, and he bounced around the league. He signed with the Giants last year. Didn't really fit in with their 3-4, and then he ended up signing with the Colts, made their 53, so respect to Fadi. Tayshawn Bauer, a former either UDFA or 7th-round pick, one of the two, out of LSU. He's currently with the Raiders. Abdullah Anderson, who had a cup of coffee with the Vikings in 2020. I want to say it was one of the random Illinois universities. It wasn't the Illini. Doesn't matter. But he's with the Falcons. Armand Watts, of course, is with the Bears. The pride of Arkansas. Just sucks. He's going to start for them. He's going to be good for them. Michael Pierce. Yeah, you forget. Michael Pierce was cut by the Vikings. He re-signed with the Ravens and is still wearing number 58. Which is funny. Chaz Surratt, last year's 3rd-round pick out of UNC, converted quarterback, ends up with the Jets practice squad, just adding another chapter to the dumbest rivalry in sports history. Then you have Elijah Lee, former 7th-round pick out of Kansas State, spent a lot of time with the Niners. He's currently on the Chiefs practice squad. Anthony Barr, former number 9 overall selection, 2014 draft, multi-time Pro Bowler, multi-time team captain, allowed to walk, signed late in free agency with the Cowboys, reuniting with George Edwards, and we'll see him this season. Eric Wilson last year went to the Eagles, and then this year is on the Saints practice squad. Also, Anthony Harris signed last year with the Eagles, but then he was waived, or cut rather, by the Eagles, and he's currently in the wind. Craig James. So Craig James, former Gopher, I think Southern Illinois, maybe. Then he was with the Vikings for a cup of coffee, and now he's currently on the Jets practice squad. Mike Hughes, the former number 30 overall selection in 2018, taking 2 spots ahead of Lamar Jackson. He bounced around a little bit. He was with the Chiefs. He's actually traded to the Chiefs. And then he was picked up by the Lions, and so we'll get Mike Hughes revenge games twice a year. Tay Hayes, pride of Appalachian State, came to the Vikings practice squad. There's a couple former Dolphins cornerbacks. Cordrea Tankersley of Clemson would have been good except for that ACL injury. And then Tay Hayes came aboard. either last year or 2 years ago. He's currently on the Panthers practice squad. Justin Coleman. So this is an interesting name. Justin Coleman, who's bounced around a lot between the Seahawks and the Patriots, has done some good things this league. Also spent some time with the Lions. But he came in originally as a UDFA out of Tennessee and had spent some time with the Vikings. I think he was a UDFA tryout. I want to say he made the 90-man. I'm not sure. But either way, the Vikings, I mean, Justin Coleman would have been the best slot cornerback of the team in the recent memory. Whatever. J-Ron Curse, former special teams team captain of the Vikings before he got in some trouble, and then he went to the Lions, and now he's with the Cowboys. Actually signed with Dallas for some decent coin. Again, a lot like Anthony Barr, reuniting with former Vikings defensive coordinator George Edwards. Marcus Epps. Remember Marcus Epps? So he was a 6th-round safety out of Wyoming. I believe the Vikings tried to get him onto the practice squad, and then the Eagles snatched him up a couple years ago, and he developed pretty nicely. He's like him and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson are going to be a nice safety duo for Philly. And then you got kickers. So you got Riley Patterson, who was a UDFA out of Memphis. I think they tried to put him on IR or practice squad, one of the two. He's bounced around, but now he's the kicker for the Jaguars. Kicking God, Daniel Carlson, the pride of Auburn, cut after 2 games, after 3 shanks against the Packers. Is what it is. He's turning into a Pro Bowl, all-pro kicker and leading the league in scoring last couple years. Happens. And then kicker Gabe Burkich, the pride of Oklahoma, came in as a UDFA for some short-lived competition for Greg Joseph. Joseph smoked him. He went to the greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers, was on the 90-man, and then eventually put on IR. So that's it. That's it. I mean, we probably missed a couple, but also I don't care at this point. That's it. Take a look at some former Vikings veterans of where they're hanging around the league this season. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.